Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to another session of Perspective 360 degree where we are going to begin a session today with respect to the RBI Grade B 2026 examination that is going to, wait a second. Yes, I hope my voice is audible to everyone. Yes, so the voice is audible. So hello everyone, welcome to RBI Grade B 2026 special descriptive series where we are going to cover current affairs that are relevant as far as your descriptive paper is concerned. And you would already be knowing about it series for a while. Me, Deepika ma'am, and Surendra sir, we have been continuing it. So, as a part of today's class, we are going to discuss this topic, which is UN Habitat's catalog of solutions. Why we are discussing it? Because it is relevant as far as your syllabus is concerned. So, we have urbanization as a part of your syllabus. So that is why this document or this catalog of solutions that has been released by United Nations, it is relevant for your examination. That is the first thing that you need to know. Now, how we are going to cover it? We are going to cover it in the form of Q&A. So this is the expected question. As far as this document is concerned, discuss the role of United UN Habitat in promoting sustainable urban development. Also mention the significance of catalog of solutions 2026 to 29, right? So this recent document has been released, and if you have covered the previous year questions, right, if you have seen the PYQs, you would be knowing that these type of questions they keep on asking in the examination. So we are going to see that what all solutions have been provided, what this document is all about. But before that, I hope you already know about UN Habitat. You must have heard about it. It has been mandated by United Nations General Assembly. And what is the goal? What is the objective of UN Habitat? The goal is very simple. It is basically to promote socially and environmentally sustainable towns and cities in it globally, right? At the global level. So it aims to promote socially and environmentally sustainable towns and cities. That is the goal of what? That is the goal of UN Habitat. And what this UN Habitat has done, it has basically released this catalog of solution in order to provide different types of urban solutions, right, that can be adopted by different countries, different cities, right? So in a very specific manner they have released it. So we are going to see that what all is included as a part of it. But before that, let us discuss the introduction as far as this question is concerned. So the UN Habitat, which means United Nations Human Settlement Program, was established in 1978 to ensure that urbanization is directed towards better human outcomes. And its role has become increasingly important because nearly 1.1 billion people, around 25% of global urban population, live in slums and informal settlements, and over the next 30 years, another 2 billion people may live in slum or slum-like conditions, right? Now the point is that in order to fulfill this objective and in order to tackle this challenge that is there with respect to the increasing global urban population, that is the reason this catalog of solution has been released by this UN Habitat, right? And it is one of those important solutions, one of those important strategy that has been released by it. Earlier also they have released several documents, but this is also one of them, right, which has been released very recently and could be relevant for your examination. Now, if I talk about this catalog, then this catalog directly supports UN Habitat Strategic Plan 2026 to 29 adopted in 2025, and it prioritizes adequate housing, land, and basic services for all. The goal is that if I talk about one word goal, the goal is basically to promote inclusiveness. To promote inclusiveness as far as urbanization is concerned, right? As far as the increasing urbanization is concerned, we want to promote inclusiveness with respect to the developmental initiatives. That is the main goal behind this catalog of solutions that has been provided by UN Habitat. I hope it is clear to you. Now let us move forward. Let us move forward and let us try to understand different points with respect to role of UN Habitat in sustainable urban solution, and then we will talk about certain number of points with respect to this catalog of solutions too. Now, the first role of UN Habitat is promoting adequate housing and to secure land rights. Now, this is very general objective but an important one because UN Habitat it places housing, land and urban basic services at the center of urban development. How is it so? It basically performs that by supporting national and local government. So basically what it does, for example, if this is UN Habitat and these are the different governments that are there, right, with respect to different nations. So it is going to collaborate with them. And after collaboration, what it is going to do, it is going to provide the solutions in a targeted manner, right? So it helps them in preparing sectors, housing sector profiles, right, where it can prepare the profile of different type of housing facilities that are there, right, in different sort of areas and in different sort of cities, then national housing strategies, and to prepare suitable legal framework also. And these legal frameworks can be adopted by the government and it can be implemented in those countries. So as a part of it, it promotes affordable housing, security of tenure, protection against forced eviction. Let me give you an example that has been very interestingly, it has been mentioned as a part of this report. So over here, it talks about basically Iraq. Now in Iraq, there is a minority community which is Yazidis. You must have heard about Yazidis. Now these Yazidi individuals are there. They have been supported by this UN Habitat, right? By issuing what? By issuing occupancy certificates. And through this occupancy certificates, what has been done? By the issuing of these occupancy certificates, they have been able to improve the tenure security, right? That was there, so that basically there is no forced eviction with respect to these type of individuals who belong to these communities. And also it has all created certain condition that has made their, increase their participation in the local development. So that could be one of those examples, although I don't expect you to remember this example, but since I read it as a part of the report, that's why I'm sharing it with you, that what role it had played in case of Iraq, where we have this minority Yazidi community, right? And over there they helped in issuing these occupancy certificates. I hope it is clear. Then it develops pro-poor and land management tools, for example, social tenure domain model, and it safeguards the housing, land and property rights of displaced and vulnerable communities. And if you see the summary is that basically the scale of housing is significant, and by 2030, approximately 3 billion people or 40% of the world's population may require adequate housing, which is equivalent to 96,000 new affordable and houses every day. Now, what you can do, see, if the question is straightforwardly asked as a part of this report, that is well and good. But even if the question is not asked, you can always use this type of data in any question that is asked with respect to urbanization, right? You can write it in the form of challenges or in the form of, I would say, different type of solutions that are there. We will talk about the solutions also. You can always state this catalog of solutions, right, that has been released by UN Habitat as a part of your way forward, that it should be implemented in India also in full spirit. So that's what you can do. So this type of data you can always use and you can write it as a part of your urbanization related answers. Now secondly, the second point is that it helps in upgrading and preventing informal settlements. Now when we talk about informal settlement basically means where people live without secured ownership or any type of occupancy rights, right? And when I say they don't have secured ownership and they don't have occupancy right, and due to that basically they do not have proper roads, they do not have facilities like proper water supply, right? No sanitation or drainage is there. So basic facilities are missing. These are the challenges that are there with respect to informal settlements. Now what this UN Habitat does, it basically upgrades such type of upgrades such type of informal settlements, and it also enables prevention of such kind of informal settlement, so that such kind of settlement do not get established because they are a result of nothing but the poor planning, right? So what it does, it first of all upgrades it, where basically it is going to improve the living conditions in this informal settlement, and secondly it is going to prevent it. When I say preventing, it means ensuring that no new informal settlements are made, right, because of poor planning or maybe inadequate housing, right? Such type of challenges are not there in these settlements. So that is the second key feature or key objective of this UN Habitat. So UN Habitat adopts integrated and participatory approach. It provides city-wide slum profiling. What do you mean by slum profiling? Slum profiling basically means to map and collect detailed socio-economic and infrastructural data with respect to informal settlements. So it is just like a survey, right? So the entire survey is done with respect to the different type of gaps that are there with respect to the services, for example, water, sanitation, electricity, right? Different sort of basic services that are there. All these things are basically surveyed as a part of this slum profiling. So this is something, a job that is performed by UN Habitat. Then it enables community participation. It promotes inclusive policy and legal frameworks with respect to different governments and national and local some upgrading strategies too, where also it enables the participation, right? Now, the third point with respect to, I would say, role of UN Habitat in sustainable urban development is building resilience and supporting recovery. Now, this point is very much straightforward, right? Because over here, it assists cities in conflict, because we know that whenever the conflict or the war happens between two countries, there is loss of life, there is loss of infrastructure, right? And there is also displacement or migration of population from one place to another. For example, it happened in case of Ukraine, right? Just to give you an example. But wherever any kind of conflict or war is happening, or it can be because of disaster too, right? A lot of displacement happens, and there is also a lot of damage of infrastructure. So in that case, what the UN Habitat does, it basically first of all performs the city resilient profiling, right? Where it is going to do the entire survey of city, and it is going to see what is the damage that has happened with respect to infrastructure and life, right? Then it is going to play important role with respect to risk informed action planning. It is going to make the action plan, integrated recovery planning, and durable solutions for displaced communities. The communities who have got displaced from one place to another, right? They are going to bring sustainable solutions with respect to them, right? That can be another role that is performed by this entity. Now, next is improving basic services. Now, this point is something that we have already discussed. So this is also very easy to understand. Improving access to water and sanitation, resource recovery, sustainable urban mobility, proximity based urban planning, right? These sort of solutions can be brought by UN Habitat. Next is supporting climate smart urban development. Now, what do you mean by climate smart urban development? See, a climate smart city is a city basically in which you can you can promote urbanization, no doubt regarding that, but you can basically contribute to those type of activities that are reducing climate change, right? So basically climate change or environment is also taken care as a part of it, and urbanization is something that is also balanced. So we are doing the urbanization but keeping in mind the environment. That is what we understand by the climate smart city based solutions, right? So it supports that. It supports that. How is it able to support that? For example, if there's a certain type of city, now in this city there is a problem of flooding. Now what it is going to do, it is going to do the entire surveillance with respect to the city, and based on that it can provide some localized or very targeted solution. For example, it can say that we should promote the idea of spawn city in this area, right? So that basically the problem of urban flooding can be resolved. So such type of innovative solutions, also sort of things can be suggested by UN Habitat, and they can be adopted by the governments. So that is another thing, right? So let me read it for you. So UN Habitat promotes climate responsive policies, multi-level climate action, right? And local climate planning and protection of ecological assets and territorial climate risk diagnostics, right? And whatever solution it is able to find, it is able to coordinate at different levels with the government. For example, at the national level, at the state level, at the city or the municipality level, it is able to coordinate with respect to that. So that is the idea regarding supporting climate smart urban development. I hope it is clear to you. Now let us move on to body part 2, and let us see the significance of catalog of solutions 2026 to 2029, right? Which is the main agenda of discussion. Now let us see the different points one by one. But before that, let us see an introductory slide also that you can write as a part of your answer. So the catalog is significant because it converts UN Habitat strategic plan into practical portfolio. So whatever functions we have seen up till now with respect to UN Habitat, they get converted into a practical reality by adopting this catalog of solutions, right? And what does it include? It includes a portfolio of 81 tested and proven solutions, right? So I would say it is a well researched document. This is something that we can conclude first of all. Now it is organized, if we talk about this document, which is catalog of solutions, it is organized into 3 interconnected sections, right? If you will open this document, you will find the sections easily. The first section is the strategic focus. Strategic focus means what? Strategic focus basically means that what does UN Habitat mainly works upon, right? What it is targeting. So first of all, it is targeting adequate housing and to secure land rights. It is working in the direction of improvement and prevention of informal settlements too, right? And it is also enabling basic services, for example, water, sanitation, waste management, transportation, right? These sort of services. The second is the impact areas, right? The second section is impact area. Impact area basically means that what results should this work produce, right? You can say it is nothing but the expected results that we can expect from this catalog of solution document if we are able to implement this strategy in different cities. So what does it include? It basically include objectives such as inclusive prosperity, right? Which basically means reducing poverty. You can say reducing poverty and also empowering the socio-economic opportunities in the cities. That can be first thing. It also aims to provide crisis recovery. When I say crisis recovery, I mean to say that those cities who have gone through conflicts, or I would say displacements, or I would say disasters, right? We are able to show the path of recovery to them. Not only show, but we are able to help them. We are able to aid them. We are able to support them to get out of it, right? To deal with these situations. Lastly, climate action also, which basically mean protecting environment, right? And to make cities safer from climate risks that are there, right? For example, urban heat, for example, urban flooding, right? Different sort of urban related disasters can be there, right? Or climate related challenges can be there in the urban cities. So we have to provide climate action plan to them, right? These are the impact areas, which means these are the results that this work should produce. Lastly, the means of implementation, which means that how we are going to implement it, whatever we have planned. So it can include first of all planning, which means urban planning and terrestrial planning. It includes finance also, which means investment and financing that these projects are going to require. It includes governance also. At the governance level, it means the different laws and policies that are there. It includes data and digital tools also, how we can use the data and the digital tools in the urban cities so that we can promote sustainability in the urban cities through modernization, through the technological aid. And it includes a capacity development too, which means the training of the workforce so that we are able to deal with such type of situations, right, in the urban areas. And lastly, it includes partnership also. When I say partnership, it includes international partnership, and it includes national and I would say local partnership too, right? Everything is included as a part of it so that we can work in an integrated manner and with a targeted approach, right? So that is the idea. That is something. It is, this entire document is divided into in these three sections. Now if we see the different sort of points that we can write as a part of the significance. So the first point is basically this catalog, it helps government and stakeholders to identify suitable areas of support. And what do I mean by suitable areas of support? Basically, it helps country and city level officials, technical departments, and funding partners and donors to identify areas in which they can seek technical support to collaborate with UN Habitat. That is the first point, which means nothing but to collaborate. When I say collaboration, it includes country or city level officials also, the I would say United Nations agencies also, which mean at the international level, funding partner also, those partners who are funding, the big organizations that are there, right, that are going to fund these programs. So we can promote partnership, and that is something that is enabled through this catalog. Then secondly, it promotes integrated solution for multidimensional urban problems. Now, when I say multidimensional urban problems, I mean to say that there are certain type of, I would say, challenges in the urban areas that you cannot see in isolation, right? Because the point is that if I talk about one single urban problem, let us say if I'm talking about lack of infrastructure, right, where we can say inadequate housing is there. Now if the inadequate housing is there, you cannot see this problem in isolation. Because of the inadequate housing, what is going to happen? People are going to face poverty, right? People are going to face poverty. They are going to also have insecure land rights, right? And apart from that, they are going to lack basic services, right? And it also shows that how there is weak governance in that locality. I'm just trying to connect the dots to tell you that you cannot see any problem in isolation. Every problem has different sort of repercussions in an integrated manner, right? So that is why these integrated solutions are required for that approach, and this is something that is promoted through this catalog of solution, right? For example, for displaced communities, UN Habitat combines spatial planning, sustainable housing and rental support, livelihood initiatives, community participation, local capacity development and financing mechanism. Which means what? That we are following this approach in a targeted manner, in a specific manner. This is not a one size fit all approach, right? It is a more specialized approach where for different sort of problems we are trying to provide integrated solutions, so that basically rental support problem is also solved, so that they are able to have sustainable housing too, so that livelihood initiatives are there, right? For example, the employment, and we are able to enable community participation too, right? And financing mechanisms are also resolved. So you can see with one problem what we are doing, we are able to provide multiple solutions, so that this problem is not just solved in an isolated manner, but different other problems that are related to it, they can also get resolved, right? Now the third point is regarding linking each solution with relevant SDGs. So you know about SDGs, right? Sustainable Development Goals that are there. So whatever solutions that are provided in this catalog of solutions, right? Basically these solutions are linked to Sustainable Development Goals, right? So that basically we are able to do everything in an integrated manner. This strategy is not something that is mentioned in an isolated way. It is an integrated approach, and it is integrated with Sustainable Development Goals too, right? Then fourthly, it identifies partner agencies and available capacity building resources, right? So different partner agencies are there. For example, different UN agencies are there, different national governments are there. In the document, it specifies that the catalog also identifies solutions connected with Local 2030 Coalition, which is driven by 14 UN entities co-chaired by UN Habitat and UNEC. The point is that if I talk about this Local 2030 Coalition, it's a coalition that basically promotes sustainable development, right? Now, in this Local 2030 Coalition, we have 14 UN entities, we have different national governments that are there, we have certain type of NGOs too, right? So the point is that this catalog, when it is providing the solution, these solutions again are not provided in an isolated manner. It is well connected with these Local 2030 Coalition too, which basically means that it is basically taking care of these partner agencies, right? And making sure that available capacity building resources are there, right? Then fifth point is that it facilitates collaboration among government, communities, civil society, academia, donors, and the private sector, right? And lastly, it provides scalable and adaptable approaches suited to local content, right? So local contexts, local solutions have also been provided as a part of this catalog of solutions. Now you don't have to enter into details. Don't try to get into a lot of details, otherwise it will be difficult for you to retain a lot of information. But wherever the value addition is required, we have done that. For example, you can talk about the Local 2030 Coalition, right? You can also talk about the displaced communities, right? How it has been written. So these sort of points you can remember. Lastly, we have the conclusion. So UN Habitat promotes sustainable urban development by integrating housing, land, services, inclusion, resilience, climate action, governance, and evidence-based planning. And the catalog of solution 2026 to 29 strengthen this mandate by providing accumulated knowledge into practical, adaptable, and collaborative interventions that improve urban governance, resilience, and quality of life, right? So just a brief conclusion for you, and I hope it is clear to you, right? So now we are done with the session. Let me see if there is any question in the chat box. All right, so nothing is there. So thank you so much and all the best. If you have any question or doubt, you can write it in the comment box.